Hello, church. So today is Wednesday, June 4th. I mentioned the frog in my throat yesterday after pushing way too hard on Sunday and acting like a 20-year-old again. And that frog proceeded on down into the chest, and we're doing not so great today and sounded about an octave lower. I wanted to give you a different angle for the service today. So we're looking at the back part of the ceiling of the sanctuary. Hopefully I'm not at too much of a distance because I had to shift the angle, so I'm kind of looking down at the for the live stream and at the camera. You'll notice by my head, which I will try to keep blocked during the devotional, but you know how much I move. So this is our rose window, and this part right here is where it junctions in the back. You might have also noticed that we have light fixtures up in the ceiling. And while there might be some other ways of accessing that, the primary way is to actually get up in the attic and crawl all the way back. Um, when so it's fairly open. Like if you hunch over, you're able to walk down most of it on boards until you get to this point. And then because there are four coming together at a junction rather than two just going straight across, it gets really tight. Now, the story that goes along with that is when I first started at Palm Schwenkfelder Church, Edmund Coons was still one of our very devoted members to the physical maintenance and upkeep of our building. And I knew that Edmund would actually go up to change light bulbs. Now that Edmund and Grace are deceased, and I think I've already said in multiple occasions, Edmund had cardiac issues, and so we were all pretty worried about him going up there. So tried to always make sure somebody was with him, or just talk him into letting somebody else do that for the light bulbs. The first time I went up, not the first time, I think maybe the second time, we had one of the ones in the very back of the sanctuary go out, and so had to go all the way through. And basically, when you get to this junction, you have to lay down on your side and pull yourself through. And if your hips are not a certain width, you ain't getting through that spot. Edmund Coons was a very tall and large man. And I don't mean fat. Edmund was just a hulk of a guy. And one day, I'd done this a couple times with him. And then I was like, Edmund, how the heck did you get through that thing? And he started laughing and said, oh, I never went through that. I couldn't fit. I would always take somebody up, one of the little guys from church, and send him through. I'm going to start coughing, and that's not going to be good. So I'll shut up on about that. Miss Edmund Coons, congratulations, if you haven't heard, to his grandson, Seth, who just had Everett Lane Coons in Arizona. There's also congratulations to their extended family member, Carrie, who's down in Florida and just had twin boys. Last I heard, everybody's doing great and wish you all very, very well. So today we step into Psalm 76. It's been a little while, but we had a series of Psalms that were done as God, with God as the divine warrior. And this is another one of those Psalms. We'll give you several pieces from Mays related to that. But listen to Psalm 76. To the leader with stringed instruments, a psalm of Asaph, a song. In Judah, God is known. His name is great in Israel. His abode has been established in Salem, his dwelling place in Zion. There he broke the flashing arrows, the shield, the sword, and the weapons of war. Selah. Glorious are you, more majestic than the everlasting mountains. The stout-hearted were stripped of their spoil. They sank into sleep. None of the troops was able to lift a hand. At your rebuke, O God, Jacob, both rider and horse lay stunned. But you indeed are awesome. Who can stand before you when once your anger is roused? From the heavens you uttered judgment. The earth feared and was still when God rose up to establish judgment, to save all the oppressed of the earth. Human wrath serves only to praise you. When you bind the glass bit of your wrath around you, make vows to the Lord your God and perform them. Let all those who are around him bring gifts to the one who is awesome, who cuts off the spirit of princes, who inspires fear in the kings of the earth. Complete side note. If you had to read the story of Ulysses, the Odyssey by Homer, when you were in high school, there's this scene that I love because after his trials and journey, Odysseus is turning home, but there are many men and suitors who are seeking his wife's hand in marriage, thinking that Odysseus was dead. So he shows up looking just like this, thin, emaciated beggar. And so in the story, he's all hunkered over. And then eventually they lock them in, I think, like the great dining hall or the ballroom with all the people who were trying to take his life and his position. And so as he's getting ready to fight, he kind of transforms and wearing a robe, he ties up the robe and starts showing, all these muscles from the vast journey he's done in his time as a warrior and as a sailor. And then everybody realizes we're in it. And then it goes. I hear similar things in God putting on the last bit of his wrath and getting ready. You might know the phrase, get ready to rumble. I'm going to blame the medication that NyQuil's great, isn't it? And Dayquil too. Yeah. Sorry. All right, from Psalm 76. Psalm 76, and James Mays entitles it, You Are Awesome. Psalm 76 praises the Lord for his awesome power over kings and princes and their weaponry. The armaments of nations are useless against the majestic wrath of God at human pretensions to power. God is portrayed as the divine warrior who has established his residence by a decisive victory over his adversaries. Mace talks about the psalm being divided into 4 parts, and I'm actually going to skip that part before I start hacking. In portraying the disaster that befell warriors and weapons around Salem, an ancient name of Jerusalem, Jerusalem, the psalm draws on the mythic notion of the divine warrior whose kingship was established and whose capital was gained by victory over other gods. Verses 8 to 9 give an important interpretation of what the Lord is about in the use of his irresistible power against the political powers of the world. These interventions of divine power are actions of the heavenly king who pronounces sentence in the cosmic court and then brings judgment. The point of this judicial intervention is to save all the lowly of the earth. In the language of the Psalms, the lowly are those who base their life on trusting God rather than on their own strength. God judges to save them. The Lord has taken residence in Zion as a counterforce to the powers that, unopposed, threaten and oppress those without power to resist them. The congregation that worships on Zion sees itself as the lowly, surrounded by the threats of history, and takes hope in the vision of the divine warrior who judges to save. The hope is the promise to all the lowly of the world. The theology of this psalm is precisely that of the 8th century prophets who saw the divine warrior acting in judgment against those who oppress the lowly within their own nations. Christians using this psalm will think of Christus Victor, and that's not a person, it's Christ victorious, whose defeat of the powers of sin and death deepens hope in their sovereign God. And to finish off, a little bit from The Message and Eugene Peterson. God is well known in Judah. In Israel, he's a household name. He keeps a house in Salem, his own suite of rooms in Zion. That's where, using arrows for kindling, he made a bonfire of weapons of war. Oh, how bright you shine, outshining their huge piles of loot. The warriors were plundered and left there impotent. And now there's nothing to them, nothing to show for their swagger and threats. Your sudden roar, God of Jacob, not the wind out of horse and rider. Fierce you are and fearsome. Who can stand up to your rising anger? From heaven you thunder judgment. Earth falls to her knees and holds her breath. God stands tall and makes things right. He saves all the wretched on the earth instead of smoldering rage. God praise. All that sputtering rage, now a garland for God. Do for God what you said you'd do. He is, after all, your God. Let everyone in town bring offerings to the one who watches our every move. Nobody gets by with anything. No one plays fast and loose with him. Have a wonderful day. I'm going to go call the doctor. We'll see you guys. Have a great one. Bye-bye.